let's see. So we will start with the second presenter, who I believe is Daniel Dedovski. Is that correct? The change? All right, so Daniel will be presenting on contemporary commercial utilization of the traditional medicaments in the area of Southern Siberia, Republic of Altai, and its ecological impacts.
Thank you, Hedwig. Good day, everybody. I will start to share my screen. Oh, host disabled participants screen sharing, it says. Can someone do? It says the screen sharing is disabled. I can't hear you, Stephanie.
Sorry, I'm on it. I'm looking at you right now. So is it possible now?
Yes, thank you very much. Sharing, everyone can see the photo. Good. My field work was realized in the Cyano-Altayan Mountains. These mountains are representing a very fragile ecosystem with southern Siberian rainforests in the lower parts and various kinds of high mountain meadows and alpine tundra in the upper parts of the mountains. This area is declared a nature reservation. However, the locals are using its natural resources almost freely, as they did from of old. The traditional healing consists here of herbal, animal, and mineral components. However, the area was historically very low populated, and the small nation pose no threat to the local nature by using its sources only if necessary. This has changed, however, very noticeably in the post-Soviet period as the international business reached the area. Here we can see one of these high mountain meadows with a great diversity of plants. And all of my informants has confirmed that in the times of the Soviet Union, there was no business with China. There was any business with China. But today, the trade with traditional drugs is booming in this area. The mountains of Altai, and that's another problem, are very revered as a sacred area since even today, and the drugs gathered in this region are considered for extra potent by the Chinese, but not only by the Chinese. And this fact introduces a big ecological threat. The Chinese pharmaceutical concerns got the agents in the area, and these agents are dealing both with legal and illegal local traders. But many private persons and lesser traders from China are visiting this area as well, because the people are not trusting the big concerns, and they do that for a reason. One of my informants visited as a member of a Russian delegation, a drug factory in China. And in this factory, the natural medicine is produced. And when he entered the department for progressing, for processing of the golden root, That's the golden root. It's a rock flower. He recognized the Chinese are using radish blooms instead. So they are making fake medicine there. And when he argued with them, he was expelled from the factory. Many of Chinese and many of the customers of these merchants are visiting Altai region by themselves to buy the medicaments from the locals, and they are not trusting the big pharmaceutic concerns. When this informant told me when he experienced this, he started to plant the golden root by himself. He was one of the first people there to do so, and he reached a great success, and now he got about 7 hectares of patches with this healing herb. Uh, However, the in amongst the Altaians, the animal parts are the most popular drugs uh, as they were in the past. However, the herbal drugs are in the area traditional too. The most important of them is this golden root. Its name is rhodiola. There are many various of this rhodiola herb. But some are Siberian. Some kinds of this herb are growing even in Europe. But we are speaking mostly of rhodiola rosea. It's an endangered rock plant which is considered to have similar effects as ginseng. The locals are gathering really large amounts of this herb in the mountains, and they are when they are replanting it from the wild to the patches, and as for the Chinese are considering the wild herbs for more potent than the agriculture, than the growth in the patches. So, it's believed this plant is boosting men's potency before all, and China is buying it with very large amounts. It's tons of this herb which are exported from the Altaya Sayana mountains to China every year. So for men's potency is used also the sweet wench. It's called in English. It's hedisarum, and for a supper drug is considered the root of rhododendron ledebori. Here is an extract from the pure Siberian rhodiola rosea, which is sold even in the Western world. It's not only exported to China, but it's exported worldwide. Yes, here is another view to the meadows with healing herbs. There are Edelweiss meadows and a great diversity. This is the rhododendron ledebori I'm speaking of. It's called maralnik in Russia because it's often eaten by the maral deer, which is to used as a which blood is used to as a healing source. This maralnik is its root is considered for solving women's problems. It is harvested by the Chinese as well in amounts which are damaging the environment. As for the golden root, this rhododendron too is exported. It's exported in tons from this area. but also various mushrooms are used in the traditional ethnical pharmacy for the so-called agaricus, which we can from the ancient Greek, which was used in medicine in ancient Greek. There what is called agaricon, and it's used in against diabetes and even against cancer. Yes, it's believed it can heal the cancer, so the Chinese are buying it for these reasons. The plant which is in English name great burnet, it's Sanguisorba officinalis. It's used against dysentery and regulates the blood pressure, no matter if it's low or high. As well as the wild bergenia, which is used against the high blood pressure and so forth. So many of these herbs are being exported, and there is a great smuggling business with them. Some Altaians, some my informants confirmed it has been smuggled across the mountains, across the mountain passes directly from Altai to Xinjiang. But the largest amount of these smuggled healing herbs, which are endangered, many of them are enlisted in the red data book, goes through Mongolia because there is in Mongolia for is vodka very expensive, so they give some vodka to the border guards, and they are letting them go to the to the Mongolia, and then it goes from Mongolia to China. A smaller amount goes through Kazakhstan to China. Such is the business in its illegal form, but it's a great threat to the ecology too. Almost every man in Altai is armed because it's a tradition to give a boy on his 12th birthday a gun and a fully equipped horse. And there is fat of different animals used in the local medicine, but also the bile from Altayan bears is used in the Chinese medicine, and not only in Chinese medicine, but it's exported to China in great amounts because they consider it for more potent if it goes from Altai. If it comes from Altai, as it's considered for more potent as the bile of the other kind of bears, as well as the musk from Siberian musk deers and from beavers. Both those animals are enlisted in the red data book. It's used for curing cancer in China, and as I mentioned, the maral deer with the connection of this maralnik of this rhododendron. The maral, the pantohematogen from the spring soft antlers of this maral deer is exported worldwide, and even paws of bears are exported to China, and they are consuming it because they believe it can grant youth and strength. The poaching and illegal gathering of herbs considers also a big social problem. It is the poor people mostly who are using this way as main source of their livelihood. This problem is very complex, and its solution is not easy. This is the Siberian musk deer, and here were some problems because they were using the kidney of marmots as protection from different diseases, and the true plaque appeared. The true plaque appeared in the area of Kosh Agach and northern Mongolia on the Russian Mongolian border, and So the local healers are, but there is some hope because the local healers are strongly disapproving the behavior of the Chinese merchants and who are exploiting the places where the healing herbs are growing, and they are doing it in such way they are exterminating the plants from the nature. They are outrooting it, and some kinds of the healing plants are becoming more and more rare in the mountains. Moreover, their fear that the local healers, their fear the bad reputation of the illegal trade will stick to them in the eyes of the authorities, and it could mean ban of the harmless traditional usage of the natural medicine as well. So it's a problem, anthropological, local, and it's a very complex problem. Here we can see a local market where the healing herbs are sold, and these markets are very good supplied, and the Chinese tourists from China are buying the medicaments directly in these markets. The markets are situated in mountain passes. Because it's a tradition in Altai, when you are traveling through a mountain pass, you should stop there and pay a reverence to the local deities, and meditate for a while before going further. So when the people are stopping there, the markets appear there as a commercial site of this custom. So it's very it's the primary place where the Chinese tourists are buying in very large amounts the healing herbs, but not only herbs, also the animal parts and mushrooms are to get there. Here we can see a merchant with a beaver musk, which is mixed with vodka, and she's selling it freely in these markets. So that's I think my time has run out. So I'm giving place for questions now. Thank you for listening me, and please ask if you want.
I think you have to stop sharing the screen.
Yeah. I'm trying to manage it.
Okay.
Stop share. Yes, here is it.
Right, great. Thank you very much. Also, I really enjoyed your anecdote about sending the plants and wildlife through Mongolia. I can totally see how that vodka trade works. But I wanted to ask regarding cosmologies, because you said that this area was considered sacred and therefore the wildlife from it particularly potent. If the cosmologies locally regarding interaction with the land, so amongst lay individuals, not necessarily the shamans or those people directly related to the more religious, spiritual elements or practices, if their own interactions with, for example, deities have shifted in order to accommodate this increased commodification.
Well, the so-called Golden Mountains of Altai are sacred not only by the local inhabitants, but its reverence is spread across the border to China, and its fame is spread across the southern Siberian region. Especially in the year of 1917, during and after during the Russian Revolution, a noticeably group of Altaians crossed the mountains, fleeing from the revolution to China, and they are living until today in Xinjiang on the Chinese part of Altai Mountains, and with them. with them the fame of the mountains came to China too. They are living there in their traditional way. I ask my informants about them, but they are very influenced with the anti-Russian Chinese propaganda today. And it's there is the Altai is very revered for it's considered there should be the Shambhala and these concepts present. Though China the Chinese are considering everything which comes from there is more potent. It's spiritual, enchanted, and will get the healing drugs are more potent while coming from these mountains. The deities today we are witnesses of the Altayan national revitalization process. So a great commercial side of this process is spreading a word about the Altayan religion. It's a shamanistic religion, but there we got there also the Burhanism, the white faith, the so-called white faith, and it got its touristical aspects. The medicaments are also a part of are exported to the Russian regions. And when I was in Uzbekistan, I had seen there a shop with Altayan healing products too, in Shahrisabz, especially in the town of Shahrisabz. It was, and though it's exported, and however, from the animals. From the animal blood, the blood of the maral deer, it's exported to China, but also dried penises of these deers and other traditional sources are exported to China from Altai as well. As I mentioned, the bears they are used for the bile. In China, we got bear farms where they keep the bears closed in cages, and they are harvesting their bile. It's very tragic, but it's harmful to the animals. But the bear bile from Altai bears is considered for much more potent. So that's the connection between religion and between the local medicine.
So my question then was who, I mean, also my follow-up question to that would be who is establishing the value, but it sounds like, is it coming from outside, like Chinese medicinal practitioners? But it sounds like it's kind of circulating with the commodification of Buddhist medications. Is that correct?
Well, you mean who is guilty for this? Yes.
Who's telling people that they can sell these things? Is this like an organic from the region, or is that coming from medicinal practices elsewhere and being, Chinese people, for example, telling them that they can make money through it?
Well, it comes from both sides, but the Chinese influence is bigger because there is they are asking for the medicaments and they are searching them actively. In Altai, the locals are using it in harmless ways to the nature. Yes, in the traditional ways are harmless to the nature because they are using it only when it's needed, and they are harvesting it with care. But China, it's a big industry. They are sending squads, harvesting squads to the mountains, which are rubbing the herbs there, and which are buying the animal parts even from the highly endangered animals like the ibis, like the snow leopard, and using it in China, exporting it to China, and using it for the medicine there. So the China is very big market, so its influence is on the first place, I would say.
Okay. Olaf?
Yes, I would have a question on behalf of the plant and animal split. So we know from the Altaians that there's no totem and mystic ideas of plants in their universe or cosmology. But we also know that in the 19th century, or in the beginning, in the mid of the 18th century, the Russians came in with the idea of Gornaya Apteka, this pharmacy from the hills that you have to use for healing the mining workers or curing their diseases with a strength from the mountains. So would you say that the Russian influence on ideas on plants also played a role on the perception of plants in the Altai, and vice versa, then that the Chinese people coming and using this kind of plants is actually an imperial anecdote and not such a, I would say, lying in nature?
Definitely, and it's not only Russian interest in the herbs. We know other European botanists visited the area, Ledebor, but also during the second Bering's expedition, the healing herbs were collected in Siberian region. It were German botanists, for example, Mr. Hoffmann. We know the Hofmannstropfen, it's and others. Steller, for example, who was an anthropologist but also interested in the ways of healing. So from the 18th century, during the whole 19th century, continuously, the European interest in the riches of Siberian healing plants were present here, and Russia is connected to this trend since to this trend even today. It's used in the marketing, and they are exporting the Siberian products worldwide if they can. So it's not only the Chinese market. Well, the Chinese market is the biggest one, but the Russian market is also as much important as the Chinese, because they are promoting the healing, the natural healing. It's very popular in the Western world today. So Russia is participating in this process, and the people who are using these natural medicaments often don't see there are some very bad ecological aspects hidden behind this business.
So we have two more questions, and Olga just kind of made me realize you could send me a direct message to Q. So first Olga, and then Tatiana, and then that'll be the end.
Okay, thank you. I will try to actually reformulate the question of Hedwig, because I'm still curious whether there is the systems of lists of natural medicines of local healers and Chinese healers are more or less the same, or the local healers are or local sellers are adapting to the Chinese systems and adding something new to their list, what they sell. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We got two categories: the local merchants, who are also gatherers in the mountains, and local healers. The local healers are very closely connected to the shamanistic practices. They are very important for their local area. they are healing their neighbors, and they are using the medicaments in the traditional ways. I have made interviews with such healers. The best of them was from Koshagach, and she told me about these connections to the shamanistic practices and to the local scene. They are harmless. They are a part of the traditional culture in the area, and they are serving the local people as medics. As an alternative to the official hospitals and medics, they are making massages and other things. And also they are like psychologists for the yes for the local people too. But the gatherers there are selling these healing stuff to the tourists and to the Russian, Chinese, Mongolian people on the local markets, and they are also connected. That's legal. Yeah, that's legal trade, but. They are also connected to these poachers and to these smugglers because they there are found a very lot of important informants amongst them. They sent me to the smugglers, and I have made interviews with them, and they were very open because they noticed I am not Russian, so I was not threat to them, and they have very openly spoken to about these practices. So the local healers are not playing part in this illegal business. They were very critical to this, and they are very angry, all of them. These people, all the people which are spoke to, are very angry to China because the China is damaging the environment, and it's damaging their traditional places where the herbs are growing, and the pharmaceutical industry is making the animals very rare. So even if the local healers want to use some animal parts, it's hard to find them, or they must buy them from sometimes even they must buy them from the smugglers or from the poachers, because they are not able to obtain them themselves anymore. Yes, so there is a little connection to the illegal side of the business, but it's they are not preferring this. They are regretting to doing so, but the business is so blooming there, so they don't got they don't got another way. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tatiana?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for a fascinating paper. My question is probably a bit hyper-specific, but so I was curious about golden root or rhodiola rosea. And I know that it has multiple medicines, and multiple practitioners tend to claim it, right, as something that they find quite useful. So my question is this, considering that Altai, I think Evalar is in Altai, right? So I was wondering if there are like gradation of rhodiola that are locally sort of framed are more or less efficacious, for example, depending on whether they're cultivated. I know it doesn't lend itself to cultivation well, versus collected in the wild, and how those sort of distinctions might be working relative to, say, the Chinese market, the Russian internal domestic, like pharmaceutical cosmetic market, and what the local healers are doing. Thank you.
Mhm. This golden root, yes, it's used by everybody. As I told, it's considered to have some similar potential as Zhenchan. So its fame is very spread there, and even the locals are using it in even larger amounts than in the traditional medicine, because the marketing, its promotion is everywhere. Yes, if you go to the local apotheke, there it's there are billboards promoting this herb, and well, they are saying the bear bile there too. So and the animal and some of the animal products in the official pharmacy and in the pharmacy shop, and so there are some little differences between the usage by the locals and by the tourists and by the China and Russian market, but these differences are in amounts of harvested plants. The locals are using it for healing themselves. But the export is for commerce, so it's very large. They got how to say it, they got fabrics in China, factories in China where it is processed. So they are making drugs from it. So as I showed the example here, and not only in China, the Russians are making drugs as well, and they are exporting it to the Western world. So this herb is one of the most endangered herbs in this region, because it's most famous, and its harvesting is a great problem, but its agricultural growing can be a solution for this. But as I have said, there is a problem. The Chinese are considering the wild harvested plants for more potent than the growth in the patches. So they are seeking concretely the wild herbs. Yes, and there is the main problem of this all.
All right, thank you very much, Daniel. I think that's a phenomenon we'll probably encounter with many of these plants.
Yes, thank you. My research is not complete. I just began it, and the COVID came. So
Yeah, but it's still very interesting and relevant also to see how it changes through COVID. So potential for future exciting insights. Thank you very much for your presentation.
thank you too.